Aphasia is a language disorder caused by damage to the area of the brain that regulates language expression and comprehension. Aphasia impairs one's ability to communicate effectively with others, and many people suffer from aphasia as a result of a stroke. The National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders, or NIDCD, estimated in 2015 that approximately 1 million people, or 1 in every 250 people in the United States, have aphasia. Aphasia after a stroke is more common in older people than in younger people. Everyone, unfortunately, could succumb to this dreadful illness later on in life, and Hollywood stars are no exceptions. Just this March of 2022, one big-time celebrity in this list was diagnosed with the disorder. Hi, welcome to YouWannaWatch, and in this video, we're going to talk about Hollywood celebrities with aphasia. Note that this list isn't just to discuss about our favorite Hollywood celebrities affected with the disorder, but is also a means to spread awareness of what aphasia is. Sharon Stone. You've probably seen her in Basic Instinct, enthralling her interrogators while answering questions in that little white dress. Sharon Stone, on the other hand, is well known for her efforts to raise awareness about strokes following a brain aneurysm in 2001. Sharon Stone was standing behind a sofa in her San Francisco home one September afternoon in 2001 when she felt what she describes as a lightning bolt to the head that knocked her to the carpet, where she lay unconscious. She awoke on the other side of the sofa after an unknown amount of time and shakily rose to her feet. She was dizzy and had a throbbing headache. Sharon Stone went from feeling unwell to waking up in a hospital with bleeding in her brain. It took months for her to regain feeling in her left leg and years for her vision to return to normal. She also experienced speech issues, including aphasia and then an ongoing stutter. That toughness would prove indispensable in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. As she later learned, that lightning bolt was her brain hemorrhaging from a ruptured vertebral artery. The vertebral arteries, located at the back of the neck, convey about 20% of the body's blood supply to the brain, along with the internal carotid arteries, and their good functioning is critical to life. Sharon has no recollection of injuring herself in any way. She also had no known risk factors for stroke. There were no migraines with aura. There is no high blood pressure or diabetes. There is no family history of stroke. She also didn't smoke, but she was under increasing emotional strain as her marriage crumbled and a custody battle over Roan, her newly adopted son who was still a toddler, loomed. Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke was working out with her trainer shortly after finishing the first season of Game of Thrones in 2011 when she experienced a painful headache that felt like an elastic band was squeezing her brain. She wrote about her experience with a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a rare type of stroke caused by bleeding on the brain's surface, for The New Yorker last year. In the aftermath of the hemorrhage, she could not remember her name. Instead, nonsense words tumbled out of my mouth and I went into a blind panic. I'd never experienced fear like that, a sense of doom closing in, she wrote. Her aphasia went away after a week, but the fear of not being able to express herself in language remained. It inspired her to found SAMU, a charity dedicated to increasing access to neurorehabilitation for young people who have suffered a brain injury or stroke. The organization's mission is to fund innovative therapy research, raise awareness about the prevalence of brain injuries, and train advanced brain injury nurses. Randy Travis. In 2013, the Grammy-winning country music star suffered a stroke after being hospitalized for viral cardiomyopathy, a virus that attacks the heart. Randy Travis lost his ability to communicate and comprehend language. Because of his ongoing aphasia struggles, he still does few interviews because his ability to speak is severely limited. He described his struggle with aphasia in his 2019 memoir, Forever and Ever, Amen, a memoir of music, faith, and braving the storms of life. He wrote, "In my case, my brain was functioning, and I could understand what Mary, Travis's wife, said to me, but I could not respond in anything close to a sentence. When we first returned home, I could barely speak at all. We spent 3 months in speech therapy before I learned to say the letter A. Eventually, after about a year and a half, I could say yup, nope, and bathroom. I could also say I love you and a few other phrases, but not much more. All this was extremely frustrating for me. I felt like I was trapped inside the shell of my body." Randy Travis is determined to assist others in overcoming similar difficulties. He and Mary founded the Randy Travis Foundation to help stroke and cardiovascular disease victims. McEwen. For 16 years, the former weatherman and entertainment reporter worked on CBS This Morning and The Early Show. Before suffering a stroke in 2005, he covered award shows, several Olympics, and interviewed 5 different U.S. presidents. He chronicled his long and arduous recovery in his memoir Change in the Weather, Life After Stroke, as well as in a TED Talk, and he has since become a stroke awareness activist. On his website, he discusses his own mild case of aphasia and how singing Stevie Wonder and Beatles songs helped him him speak more fluently. At first I struggled a bit with aphasia, but I was one of the lucky ones and that slowly went away, he wrote. He has used his platform to highlight people who have been affected by the condition. McEwen has honored groups such as Aphasia Lunch Bunch, a Las Vegas-based support group that offers classes, activities, conferences, educational materials, and videos to members and their caregivers as a host of the National Stroke Association's Raising Awareness and Stroke Excellence Awards. Michael Hayden, the four-star general, who was the director of the NSA under Clinton and George W. Bush and then the director of the CIA under Bush and President Barack Obama, died of a stroke just before Thanksgiving in 2018. General Hayden, unable to read, had to relearn the alphabet from his 4-year-old grandson. While Michael's intelligence was preserved, his inability to read and write was irreversible. Some of his attempts to write on Twitter have resulted in nonsense, which has been frustrating for a man with a lot to say about current events. I am grateful that the stroke did not take my ability to understand and process and that my higher-level thinking was not affected. I am grateful my memory is strong. I am grateful to be a part of an aphasia study at Georgetown and for my therapists who have helped me come so far. I am grateful for my friends and colleagues who continue to call and visit and speak with me. With every conversation I become stronger. Michael Hayden discussed his frustrations with his inability to speak fluently in that article, but his efforts with therapists and speech pathologists have paid off. He has appeared on talk shows, clearly articulating his criticism of President Trump's bellicose rhetoric toward protesters voicing their opposition to systemic racism and police brutality across the country. Gabby Giffords. In January 2011, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was hosting her first Congress on Your Corner event outside a Safeway in Tucson, Arizona, when a gunman opened fire on the crowd, striking her in the head. Gabby Giffords' aphasia left her unable to articulate more than a few words in response to questions for years, but she was still able to sing songs she learned before she was nearly killed. Because the left hemisphere of the brain is responsible for language, but the right hemisphere is more specialized for carrying a tune, this phenomenon occurs. Her perseverance in healing has now allowed her to read prepared speeches, which she did in dramatic fashion at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. Gabby Giffords and her husband, astronaut Mark Kelly, founded Giffords, an anti-gun violence organization that advocates for sensible legislation to address the crisis of gun violence. We are nearing the end of our video, but before we proceed, we would like to ask you to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/c/YouWannaWatch2022 and follow us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/YouWannaWatch. Okay, now back to the story. Dick Clarke, the iconic host of American Bandstand, the $10,000 Pyramid Game Show, and Dick Clarke's New Year's Rockin' Eve suffered a stroke in December 2004 that left him with paralysis on his right side and a bout of aphasia that took away his ability to deliver his signature sign-off. For now, Dick Clarke, so long. Dick Clarke returned to the New Year's celebration the following year and continued to co-host every year until his death in 2012. Dick Clarke announced to the world that people can have strokes and still continue to function. Robert Thompson, PhD, the director of the Bleier Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University, told the Los Angeles Times. The Los Angeles Times noted in its obituary for Dick Clarke that many people who suffer strokes withdraw from life, but Dick Clarke was fearless and refused to let it slow him down. The progress he made year after year demonstrated to people that the effort they put into their recovery can pay off. Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, the prolific action movie star, has been diagnosed with aphasia, a disorder that affects the brain's language center and a person's ability to understand or express speech, and will retire from acting, his ex-wife Demi Moore announced on Wednesday, March 30, 2022 via Instagram. To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities, Moore's post reads. As a result of this and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. We are moving through this as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you, as you do to him, it continued. As Bruce always says, live it up, and together we plan to do just that. The post is signed Emma, Demi, Rumor, Scout, Tallulah, Mabel, and Evelyn, referring to Emma Heming Willis, Willis's wife, and his children. Moore is the mother of Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah, and Heming Willis is mother to Mabel and Evelyn. The post was accompanied by a hilarious photo of a younger, smirking Willis dressed in a bathrobe, sunglasses, a gold chain with a cross, and a towel wrapped around his head. We hope that Bruce has a fast recovery, and he will surely be missed in the movie industry as being one of the best leading men in Hollywood who starred in movies like Death Becomes Her, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and the Die Hard movie series, just to name a few. Though there really is no guaranteed way to prevent aphasia. Exercising regularly, eating healthy, monitoring and controlling blood pressure, avoiding tobacco use, keeping alcohol consumption low, and managing stress can help reduce the risk of getting this in the future. What do you think about our list? Did we miss anything or anyone that you think should have been included? Did you know of what aphasia was before watching this video? If so, do you know of other tips on how to cope and or to do to prevent this from happening? Let us know your thoughts by writing a comment on this video. If you're interested in our other videos, just hover over the videos and just press play. Until next time, watchers, thank you for watching our video.